Sales and selling doesn't really have a great reputation. People associate selling and sales with being sleazy. But of course, it doesn't need to be that way. You just need to change up your mindset and your tactics and follow the advice of people like Aleasha Bahr. What's the surest way to lose a potential client? It's failure to follow up. I heard it once said that a typical B2B deal is going to take 5 follow-ups on average to close the deal, and that the average B2B business owner is likely to give up after 1 follow-up. Follow-up is super duper important, which is why today we're going to be talking about how to level up your follow-up game, even if you get ghosted, even if you fear coming across like a pushy salesperson, even if you don't want to seem desperate. And to help me out is Aleasha Bahr. Aleasha Bahr is the creator of the subtle selling formula, also the pitch weaving formula. She makes selling painless. And am I right to say that you are bringing a new salesperson into the world in the not too distant future?
Yes, I have a little baby Finn.
Whoa! Yeah. All right. So how long? How long?
2 months left. The longest 2 months of my life. Although my husband says it's flying by.
It's flying by. It's a wonderful time, but you won't get to eat what? Sushi, poached eggs, cured meats, and then.
Yeah, I mean, no alcohol, obviously. No hard drugs. Totally miss those. No tattoos. No hot tubs.
No hot tubs. Wow.
No hot tubs. No roller coasters. No massages.
And no roller derby.
Definitely nothing high impact. I can't go to water parks.
Yeah, wow. Well, in 2 months and 1 day, if it's anything like my wife, both of my kids had barely entered this world, and we were across the road from the hospital having poached eggs and raw fish, poached eggs with salmon, the whole bit. You can go nuts.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Can't wait.
I had a mom friend telling me she was going to get margaritas, and I was like, it's not that much time left.
Yeah, margaritas. All right, let's talk about this. How to level up your follow-up game. So as I said in the intro, failing to follow up is one of the greatest crimes in the sales and marketing space, particularly if you're selling bigger ticket products, which require a little bit of trust and understanding, and people don't make decisions super duper quickly. Can we talk about the mistakes? What are some of the mistakes that people make?
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say like the biggest issue holding people back from follow-up is they don't know what to say. And so when they do say something, they say that they're just checking in and circling back and touching base and following up, which all mean like, hey, are you going to buy my thing? So you can follow up 5 times, like you said, the magic amount of frequency, but if every one of them is like just touching base and following up, I mean, think about you. Do you like to respond to those emails?
No. And you're right. There's all sorts of scenarios in the sales and marketing landscape where language is used and immediately that is code for something else. So someone says, do you want to book a discovery session? I hear they want to mine me for data. If they say it's a breakthrough session, what are you going to break me down? When someone says checking in, I love all the language, checking in, circling back, touching base. It's like, yeah, so you're going to pay me or what?
Yeah, it's just basically like, I was touching base to see if I should keep touching base because you're going to give me money.
Yeah.
So
and I'm going to keep doing it until you give me money. No.
Yeah. And so there's nothing in it for the other person, for your prospect. There's not a valid business reason, basically.
That's cool. So that's the that magic acronym WIIFM. we always need to be answering that unspoken question, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
So how do we flip that? If we don't want to be reaching out and saying, I'm checking in, I'm circling back. Oh man, I've never used that. But when you said it, I went, man, I've heard that so many times.
Definitely. It's a popular one.
How do we flip it?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's going to be like the things to do. Should we do them in order? Should we do like the mistakes first and then the things to do? Or should we just like,
all right, well, let's hit the next, let's hit another mistake. Yeah. What's another mistake?
The other mistake is not asking the other person in your sales conversation for a follow-up entry point, like on the call. So a lot of people don't ask, like, what's your timeline for making a decision?
Yeah.
And usually finding out that, oh, well, you know, my boss is on vacation. He'll be back in a week. We really need this to be done by third quarter. We blah, blah, blah. You know, having that conversation gives you so many reasons to follow up that have their best interests in mind. And I just can't tell you how many people don't ask. So they basically get off the call and say, okay, well, we'll talk about it and let you know. And the salesperson's like, great.
Yeah. And they go, yeah, I'll send you a brochure or, you know, something. I was actually on a call to a venture capitalist the other day because we were raising money. And I didn't say, what's the timeline? I said, what's your process for making a decision? And it was really interesting because he broke down all the different decision makers within the organization and how they go about making the decision. What was also really interesting is that he kept coming back to time. And this is how much time this will take. And this is how much time this will take because we don't want to waste your time, which was really, really encouraging, actually.
I just can't believe that he was that detailed and thorough in his answer to you. That's amazing. And I mean, you do present like a good, it depends on who you're talking to. So the reason you asked what's your process is that you knew there were other players involved.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, you would probably want to ask both. What's the process? And then you'd say, okay, great. So sounds like 2 months.
Yeah.
You'd like want to like surmise it and clarify with the other person.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's that other element, which is, and this might be among the to-dos, is that then you need to make sure that you've set that next step. All right, well, if it's going to be 4 days, do you mind if we connect it? You know, should we connect? I'll let you use the language because I'm not the gifted person with a language, but let's, except when it's written down, let's catch up. You know, you say, let's catch up on Friday, and then let's book that in now. And then we can continue to move it forward and you're not following up. Good advice, bad advice?
So it's not bad advice. It's just based on like your industry and your experience. A lot of times if you say like, I like the idea of booking a call more than saying like, I'll call you on this day, because it basically makes the other person have no responsibility and become completely passive. If you just say like, I'll give you a call on Friday to check in, they're like, that sounds great. And then they're like, great, I can just throw it out of my mind because this person's going to contact me on Friday and I don't have to take any ownership or responsibility whatsoever. So if you're booking a call, at least you guys are both agreeing on something. Kind of like the idea of like a smaller buy-in. Like, can you send me your current offers or something, like something they could send you, you know, like a little thing.
So
where
they're
like
taking action, they're sending you the thing, or
the more
they're
they're
providing
taking action,
something.
the more bought into you they are. Yeah. Rather than you, like everybody can say like, yeah, call me. It's like their way of easily ghosting you. Because so many people book those calls and then get ghosted. Has that happened to you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I don't do the sales calls anymore because I can, but I've got a business partner who can do them a lot better. But what I used to do is we'd host a sales call, and we still do this as a strategy event. So it's not necessarily explicitly for the purpose of selling. We're teaching a strategy. We're taking someone through a process. But what I do notice is that I would often say at the end of it, all right, here's what I want from you next. Here is your mission. Should you choose to accept it, here's your action. And I would usually give them something to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
And I
love
bet
that
you-
idea.
Yeah, I bet you found like better results, and it works really well with venture capitalists too. Can you send me some of the projects you've invested in, or one of them, or blah, blah, blah. And if they're really interested, they will respond back and give it to you.
What I love here is that this is one of the things that, I mean, like, this is some great advice. It's a lot of people that are selling or not comfortable at selling is usually because they're not comfortable asking for something. So here we've got an example where you can ask for something that is not, hey, give me your credit card details. You can say, hey, can you get me this thing? And that will really help me establish whether this is a good fit or not. Or
like if you're actually interested or not. Like, so it's not just completely out of their mind, basically. Or another good ask is like, okay, I'm going to send you a video, or I'm going to send you a thing, you know, do you have time to watch it?
Yeah.
Are you able to watch it? It'll really help you. You know,
that's
so
really
you always
cool.
want to frame it as like a benefit for you. So can you send this to me so I can better understand how to help you?
Yeah.
That'll help
could
me
even
get
be, I want to send this to you. What's the best way? Can I SMS it to you? And what's the best time of day for you to watch an SMS? And they'll go, I'll watch a video. Can I text you? They'll go, oh yeah, 12 noon's good. All right, tomorrow morning, tomorrow lunchtime, I'm going to send you an SMS with a link to a video. You're going to watch it? I'm going to watch it. Excellent. Thank you.
well, and then you can follow up and ask, did you watch it?
Did you
and
watch
what did you think?
Yeah. Particularly if the video, is part of the process, you could once again respond to that what's in it for me scenario. When they've watched it, you could say, how do you think that's going to benefit you? So there's two great mistakes here. Number one, just having no good reason for following up, checking in, circling back, touching base, following up.
Yeah.
We're failing to answer that question, what's in it for me? And all of those things are code for, are you ready to make a decision? You want to make a decision? You're going to give me some money. You ready to give me some money? Why aren't you giving me some money?
Yeah.
The second mistake was, what was the second mistake?
The second mistake is not getting a future entry point for follow-up. Like, so in the conversation, understanding like what they're, and that happens in the sales conversation.
No next step.
Just letting them go, letting them say, oh, we'll let you know.
All right. Okay, cool. Because if we've got that next step, that's the first follow-up already taken care of.
Yes.
Nick.
Exactly. Exactly. And you're not just blindly following up because they said, let me think about it. And you said, okay. And then you're like, I haven't heard from you, so I'm touching base.
Yeah. Cool. All right. That's two big mistakes. What are some of the things that we can do? And there was already a couple of clues in there. What are some things that we can do to level up our follow-up game?
Yeah. So, I mean, the biggest one is having something in it for them. So there are a lot of things. If you don't have something from your conversation, like you found out when the board was making a decision, or when they were talking to their so-and-so, or the events coming up that they need to promote, or whatever, if you didn't get any of that from the sales conversation, then you can follow up and say, oh my gosh, I just got off the phone with my client so-and-so who, just secured a $50,000 sale with the latest promotion that we did for them. I can't wait to do the same for you. Have you made a decision yet? So some type of like, not just a success story, like I wanted to share the success story with you, but more like I just got done with a reporting call with one of my clients. This is the, increase that they received, or the whatever. That's a really powerful one. Another powerful one is talking about an idea that you have for them, an industry article that's relevant to them. So like, I saw this is happening in your industry. I know how we can leverage this for our success. We've already been helping other people with it. What is another?
Yeah,
one?
nice. I'm writing notes here. I'm writing notes like crazy. The success story is really good. If you've got them, particularly if they're new, like if it's real and it's new, hey, this is great. I love the language. I was thinking of you, right? And that, I ran into someone I was walking down the street and I ran into a girl that I went to high school with. And she said, I had a dream about you the other night. Now, I was rude. I was stopped in my tracks. My feet were like, you know,
that comes with a lot of implications.
So many implications. But the brain was like, it's like I was thinking about you, and immediately you stop and go, what were you thinking about me? I love the line, I was thinking about you, because it's the opposite of I'm checking in, I'm circling back, I'm touching base, because I was thinking of me.
Yeah.
I was thinking of you. And it can be like, hey, this success, it's not like, here's this boring case study. It's hey, this happened in our world this week, which made me think of you. Or what did you talk about? The industry article. This industry article appeared and it made me think of you.
Like I saw this in Forbes about Volkswagen. It's going through some crazy shit. And there's a way that we can spin this so that you get more customers from it.
Yeah. So I had this idea. I was same deal. I was lying in bed at night and I was thinking about you. And then watch your clients go, what? And then you say, I had this brilliant idea. And everybody wants to know that you're thinking about them. I mean, like, that's basically human nature.
Yeah, like you have their best interests in mind. So like an idea, like I saw someone doing this strategy I thought would work really well for you too. I can see how we could implement this. You can like show an example.
Incidentally, we also do this before the meeting. So before a meeting, we'll often SMS 24 hours before a meeting with a link to a funny video. Now, it's not like just a cat video, you know, falling off a whatever. It's usually something pertinent to the topic. So it might be a funny satirical video about somebody who's making a specific mistake. And we'll send them a SMS that will say, you know, like, you know, hi, Barbara. This made me think of our meeting tomorrow. And, you know, the meeting's about how to pitch an idea. And then the video is somebody doing a terrible pitch. And then they laugh and they're more likely to show up for the meeting the next day. And it's one extra touch. But I like the follow-up ones as well too. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, what you're doing there is more like relationship building, where what we're doing in the follow-up is hopefully getting them excited about the result that they're going to get with us. So what you're sending is like, oh, this person's a human that I like and I'd like to spend time with. I don't want to no-show this person. I don't want to be a dick.
Yeah, that's right. Because we did say that today we're talking about how to level up your follow-up game and not be ghosted. So what are some of the other tactics that we can use as part of our follow-up game?
Yeah. So, I mean, you really want to play within those. Like you can send multiple versions of those. The other are seasonal. I know that
I didn't catch the words that you used there. What they used end notes? What did you use?
Oh, I said switch between them. So like, if you know, you have to follow up 5 times, like you said, so do the first one as hopefully the entry point that you had figured out. And then the next one is the client success. And then the next one is the industry article. And then the next one is a new idea, you know, like switch between them.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're not getting a response.
Yeah.
At a point, it does just seem desperate. So you do want to just be like, hey, I really hate bugging people. So, you know, I'm going to stop bugging you. Doesn't seem like you're interested. Like, let me know if I've assumed incorrectly. Basically, like you do get to a point where you're like, I'm going to stop bugging you. But before that point, you want to give value to the other person to show them that you're really thinking of them. So sometimes you can even do like a Loom video. So if you've got like a community, like let's say James, for example, has a wonderful online community, if you guys didn't know. And people say really good things in it. So one of your salespeople could film a Loom saying, look, I really like showing this because you can't fake it. These are the wins that we recently had in the community. They made me think of you, especially because you specifically were talking about having a lead generation problem. And this guy was too. And now he's, got 10 appointments a week. So anyway, have you made a decision yet?
Highlighting the outcome. Use the word getting them excited about the result. So it could be a success story, it could be an idea, it could be an industry article, could be a Loom video showing something that's going on in your group. But the outcome here is we want to get them excited by the result. I've got two questions that I want to ask you that have been going through my head. One of them is about frequency.
Yeah.
So do you have any rules of thumb that you apply when it comes to the frequency of the follow-up? Because we don't want to be, I don't know, like the over-eager Casanova after the first date that's like, SMSing 6 times after the first date on the following day. And how do you manage frequency?
Totally. So it's definitely more at first. Ideally, you got the timeline from the sales conversation. So the timeline that they should be responding within. But ideally more at first. So, like probably the first week, you send a follow-up immediately with some information for them to watch, like with a little ask, like watch these videos or whatever. This is for your boss to talk to about whatever the issue is. And then you want to send one of those other follow-ups, probably like, it depends on when you were supposed to hear from them, like 3 days later, 3 days, 2 days, 3 days. Yeah. And then the next one, like another 2 to 3 days later.
I'm going to let's come up with some rules, Aleasha. Let's just come up with some rules that people to live by. I'm going to call this one the rule of 3. And you ready? I'm going to say in the first week, you can reach out 3 times, and then you can reach out once a week for 3 weeks. Then you can reach out once every 3 weeks. How's that? Is that a good rule of 3?
Yeah. Look at you. You're such a marketer, man. You just like label it.
Yeah. But that way, I'm just thinking like the first week, it is okay to reach out 3 times. It might be like once, almost immediately after the meeting, once the next day, one might be later on that week. Then it might be once a week, once a week, once a week. And then it might be every 3 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 3 weeks. And then it might be every 3 months.
Yeah. If somebody's ghosted you that long, I would move them to 3 months.
Yeah.
So it's basically, and then it becomes like a 9-word email, which I'm sure you've heard of because you are a marketer. But
I have, but we should talk about that because I love it as a strategy.
For anyone who hasn't heard of it.
Yeah. Well, that was the other question I wanted to ask. So the first one was about frequency, and I don't know what we call it, the ANJ method, the rule of 3, the ANJ follow-up rule of 3 method.
I like the rule of 3.
Since we invented it here right now.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to ask is that it's how to level up your follow-up game, even if you get ghosted. What are some of the mechanisms that you use when you feel like you've been ghosted to restart the conversation?
Yeah. So, I mean, really just those ideas that we were talking about, something where it's like, I was thinking of your business. This is what I could do for you.
Sorry, my phone keeps beeping. It's on silent. It keeps beeping. So I don't know why it keeps beeping. Maybe there's a fire in the building.
Oh, that seems important.
And I got to get out. No, it's just my business partner. He's probably changed my settings so that when he sends me a message, even if it's on silent, that's the sort of thing you'd do.
Just to be especially annoying.
Yeah. Tell me about share the 9-word email, because the 9-word email is such a really good strategy to use after an extended gap, or as the 5th in a sequence or something like that.
Yeah. Like after 3 months, you just want to be like, hey, do you still need help with XYZ? Yeah.
Now, I just want everyone listening to this. This is an email. It's called the 9-word email. I think it was a Canadian guy that first came up with it in the real estate industry. The email subject is usually the person's name, like nothing else, like Aleasha goes in the subject. And then the body copy says, do you still need help with insert problem, challenge, whatever outcome here? And then it just has your email signature. And it seems to work really, really well. Why do you think it works so well, Aleasha?
I think that it's very simple. And like, a lot of people, I mean, I will say like another good tip for follow-up is keep it as simple as possible. Like I'm talking headers, bullet points. Like we don't want more than, 5 sentences.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. So the simplicity of it is definitely part of it. It's just a direct question. There's no fluff around it. Like, hey, like, hope you're having a great week or whatever, and then it's also directly related to helping someone. So at that point, it doesn't feel so much like you're trying to sell me. It feels like, yeah, I do still need help with that. I talked to this person 3 months ago. What the hell am I doing? Like, whatever I'm doing is not working. Yeah, I need help with that. Why have I been putting it off?
I think there's also something brutally honest about it. It's just, hi, Barbara. Barbara, do you still need help recruiting staff? Do you still need help fixing your prices? Do you need still help? And whatever it is that you do, managing those difficult staff members. And I think that there is this moment where someone looks at it and they go, yeah, I do still have that problem. And I think that it's such there's no emotion embedded in the email. So people interpret it in their own ways. Like I've seen people interpret that as is this person a bit pissy with me?
Really?
Right? Yeah. Like, do you still need, do you still need help with this stuff or what? Because there's nothing else in it. Right. But, and they go, because, they have followed me up 4 or 5 times and I've never replied. And we had that great conversation. I feel like I should reply. And, you get the people saying, yeah, I do still need help, but you also get people explaining why they haven't followed up. Or explaining why they might not need help right now, which is still valuable intelligence.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, you said something in the very beginning of the conversation about sales cycle. Like it's so important to know what your sales cycle is. For example, my husband sells air compressors. And like there's some clients he's been talking to for 5 years that are just now moving forward. So, it's really just sometimes staying in when it's those big contracts, because they're like, multi-million-dollar machine setups or whatever. Like you've got to stay in front of someone. You cannot just bounce after the first follow-up for sure. So always saying like, hey, I'm here to help you, basically.
The person who's relentlessly SMSing me, no matter how far I move my phone away from the desk, I'm sure it's still coming through. But that's John, my business partner, and he handles our sales team. Yeah. And he gets a total thrill when he signs someone after 18 months. It's just because it means that he's done his follow-up work. And we also have a great funnel mapping specialist is the title that we give our sellers, because our sales calls are actually delivering value for 80% of the call. And her name's Naomi, and she had a sales call on April 1st. So as we record this, we're entering May, and April 1st, April Fool's Day. And it was a very difficult conversation. Wonderful person, but difficult to get a decision at the end of it. Anyway, the decision just came in like this week, and I don't know if Naomi's going to see this, but we're sending her a little gift because it was she's used to closing almost as early as the first call. This is the first time where it's taken over a month, and she got it, and that's a win.
Yes, she stayed. I mean, that's the thing. People can tell how much you care. And it just, you've got to also judge each person, like prioritize your time. If you're selling something really tiny, I don't think you need to follow up for 18 months, but if you're, selling something big, like a big corporate contract or something like that, like, yeah, stay in touch with that person, bring value to their life, even if it's like a laugh.
Yeah.
At that point,
Well, this wasn't a big one, but it wasn't a small one either. So it was probably just about the right time frame. I'll tell you what, I have just an observation, and I'm going to ask you for some words of wisdom before we wrap up and make sure that we've ticked all the boxes that you wanted to talk about. But just as an observation, at this point in time, $1,600 seems to be the inflection point between big ticket and little ticket. And I'm going to justify this. And that is because anything under $1,600, you could usually close on a webinar or or just, like a long form landing page. Whereas anything above 1,600, probably at this moment might change, will usually require a conversation. And I think that anything under $3,000 should be a one call close. And anything, and as it gets higher, it's if it's a $500,000 contract, it might be a 5-year close.
Yeah, there's more people involved in that one. I would totally agree. I wouldn't take sales calls for anything under 1,500. It's just, or 1,600. It's just not really a great use of your time.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to recap. So there were 2 big mistakes. The dodgy language that doesn't articulate the what's in it for me, checking in, touching base, not setting up a next step on the call, understanding the timeline. Some great language here. What's your timeline for making a decision? Inviting them to take action. In terms of things that we can do, circulate things rather than touch base. And the best types of things are things that are going to get the person excited by the result. We also came up with a great tactic called the rule of 3. Woohoo! I talked about frequency. And finally, the 9-word email and other strategies to use to not get ghosted.
Well, that was like the last one for not getting ghosted, but there was one that I was holding back on. It's like really important.
Excellent. Let's finish the high.
Just like at the end, have a direct question. Have you made a decision yet? Do you still need help with that? So often people are saying like, let me know. And that is extremely passive. Just ask.
So important. Just ask, have you made a decision yet?
A direct question at the end of the email, and move your pleasantries at the top of the email, like happy Monday or like whatever. Just put them at the bottom. It's a great way to close out an email. You've got the first sentence is going to get the most attention always.
So you're saying it would be, hi, Aleasha, have you made a decision yet? Me and the crew are waiting. Well, it could be me and the crew are really excited. Happy Monday. Or you saying the other way around?
I would give the reason you were contacting them first. Like, this made me think of you. Your big season's coming up. Like, want to nail that for you so you have a huge fourth quarter. Have you made a decision yet? Hope you're having a happy Monday.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, as we record this, it is indeed a Wednesday in Australia, a Tuesday in Australia. It's a Monday in North America. So I'm going to say, Aleasha, thank you so much for your time, your insights, and I hope you have a happy Monday.
Oh, thank you. I hope your Monday was happy.
My Monday was pretty good too. And I think I speak on behalf of everyone who's listening to this calls that we really look forward to seeing you again in a couple months, maybe with an extra seller on your hip.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, inevitably.
Yeah. This has been awesome. Do you have anything that you would like to share or give away to help our people find you and get in touch with you?
Yes. So I have follow-up templates that you can, copy and paste, and they have blanks in them for you to fill in your information to make it custom and specific to the person you're talking to. But it has it broken out for like each scenario, and it's absolutely free. So just join my group, Sales is Not a Dirty Word, on Facebook, and let me know that that's what you want, and I will send it to you for free.
So I'm going to include a couple of links below this. One, Aleasha has a rockin' Facebook group. Join the Facebook group to get the thing. Number 2, Aleasha has an amazing podcast. I'm going to link to that. Number 3, every now and then, not always, but every now and then, if you are incredibly lucky, you might be eligible for a sales audit. And I'm going to put a link for that as well too. But don't be disappointed if all the slots are filled, because she's a very popular person and she can't do that for everyone. But if you do get the chance to have a sales audit with Aleasha, leap on that opportunity. Thank you once again.
Thank you.